What up, man? It's your big brother K Reno, and this is for the Underground Dialogue podcast. What I'm getting ready to talk about is not necessarily underground information, but I think it's information that the underground needs to be aware of because everything's connected in some way or another. Um, Brittney Griner was released from a Russian prison today. And if y'all don't know who that is, she's a WNBA basketball player, star player, who also played overseas in Russia. She was detained 10 months ago for having a vape cartridge and a little bit of, I think, CBD. But she was released after being held for 10 months. And there had been ongoing conversation and then recent negotiations between the Russian government and the United States government to try to bring her home. And the talk was always about making a prisoner swap. They would send Brittney home in exchange for a Russian individual that the United States had been holding for years named Victor Bout, who was an arms dealer. Dangerous dude, real dangerous dude. But that swap was made, and we happy that Brittney is coming home. What we gotta understand too is kind of why I'm making this video. Just in my opinion, um, because Joe Biden, he did whatever it is that he did to make it happen, and a lot of us can be fooled by that move in terms of thinking that okay, this is something that gives him a strike in terms with the black community that he got Brittney home, and there's another um, prisoner by the name of Paul Whelan who's been in the Russian prison for 4 years, and Paul is still being held. And he even spoke out. Paul Whelan was like, I don't understand why I'm still here. Um, his family, I think his brother, was like, hey, we're happy that Brittney's coming home, but of course they want Paul to come home too. Um, I'm elated that she's coming home. Couldn't be happier. Um, a lot of people get caught up in, well, man, it was wrong, that little bit she had, they shouldn't have. Hey, man, we can't speak to the laws of other nations and how they do things. You got to move the right way when you move around, and especially when you move around in these other countries. You can't do it like you do it at the house. But I know a lot of political back and forth is going to take place in a lot, and I'm sure that while I don't know Joe Biden's intentions, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of political posturing going on because of this move. I ain't caught up in all that. I'm caught up in just being happy that she's getting ready to come back, and she can resume whatever her life is going to be from this point on, because that's the thing that I'm looking at as well. Like, man, there's gonna be some trauma behind that. That's a traumatizing experience, man. I can imagine. Even though people say, "Oh, she only was gone 10 months." Man, look, man, when you are out of your comfort zone, when you're away from home and placed in a culture shock type situation, man, that ain't something that you just shake off when you get back. If you're not used to that, and even if you're used the type of person who's used to going to jail and prison a lot, like we got some homeboys that like to go through that revolving door over and over again. We don't know what it's like to be in a Russian prison. To just be overseas, and you have no connection. You can't even get a visit. So there's gonna be, in my opinion, some mental stuff, some mental hurdles that she's gonna have to overcome in order just to acclimate herself back into her norm, whatever her norm is. So we praying the best for her on that. But keep your eyes on this whole thing, because everything that's done by this government is done for the benefit of this government, who's ever holding that seat at the time. I don't believe it was done out of any kindness. because a lot of pressure was placed on this administration to get this done. And a lot of people are also upset because Brittney came home and Paul Whelan is still locked up. So, you know, this could be another move to try to sway the black influence and keep that in the hip pocket on behalf of this administration. But nevertheless, we just glad that she's back. Because as a person, look, man, a dude like me who don't subscribe to any of these political parties, any of these uh, satanic presidents, I don't subscribe to any of them. Um, we just glad for the result of her coming back. And, wish everybody else the best as well who's still over there. Even Paul Whelan, man, I mean, that got to be a tough situation for him to be dealing with what he's dealing with, and he's still over there because the initial talks were to include both of them in the swap for Victor Bout, the Russian. But we'll see how it goes, man. I'm not a fan of either. And when I say either, I'm not a fan of the United States or Russia for obvious reasons in the United States and for a few other reasons in Russia. And I won't get into in this conversation. Maybe I'll cover it on an episode of the podcast one of these days. But y'all continue to subscribe and hit that like button. I came at a different angle. I didn't come from the normal view like y'all see me on my other channel. I want to distinguish the podcast view when I do videos from here. So I appreciate the love and support. Y'all subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get your notifications, man, and help build this thing up. All right, one love. It's your big brother, K. Reno. I'll catch y'all later on. Peace.